On my kicker tonight, I hope we can end it here. I mean, this sudden Kenya versus Tanzania contest that has been going on for the last 1 week. The sober ones in the room must have been watching with grave concern as a tiff that began with the arrest and deportation of Kenyan activists from Dar es Salaam mutated across the week into a nasty spectacle capable of triggering diplomatic crisis. The spectacle played out on two main platforms. That is, the respective internet and parliaments of the two countries. Here now are my observations about the Kenya versus Tanzania unexpected exchange. First, to the two nations at adult, state, government, and diplomatic level. That was dangerously reckless and unwarranted. As Dante Alighieri, an Italian poet and philosopher, once warned many, many centuries ago, quote, "From a little spark may burst a mighty flame," end of quote. History teems with examples of wars fought over the flimsiest of reasons, ranging from a kettle of soup to an unsettled grocery debt, among other petty excuses. All it takes is for sober heads in the room to be outnumbered. And events of the last week have shown us that that prospect is not impossible. Which takes me to the second observation. The parliaments of Kenya and Tanzania are almost equally gifted with a sizable number of hotheads. Remarks on the floor of the Senate in Nairobi flawlessly reflected the debate in Parliament in Dodoma. It felt like a matchmaking exercise, some kind of East African talent show premiere on how to run your mouth na kuongea mbaya. Elected leaders on both sides of Mount Kilimanjaro demonstrated their capacity for street brawling and mindless verbal bravado, kuongea bila break. On the aggregate, it was a poor, immature, and emotional show by the two parliaments. One would cringe to imagine what would have happened if some of these politicians, or indeed these two parliaments, were in place when the East African community collapsed in 1977 under a very huge cloud of broken relations between Kenya and Tanzania. What if? Really dreadful. On to my third observation. The cruel, boundless capacity of Kenyans for online wars. From nasty, outright cyberbullying to brutally creative satire, the internet will never forget the horrid online offensive by Kenyans. Many social, cultural, and political boundaries were crossed online. We cannot even mention the diplomatic bounds here. And I point this one out here at the high risk of kusalimiwa. My final observation, our respective internet and parliamentary hotheads were really eager to make this a contest between Kenya and Tanzania on a wide range of issues that especially revolve around politics and governance. It was entertaining sometimes watching them cancelling out their scores. Where Kenyans boasted about civil liberties, Tanzanians crowed about physically kicking out Ugandan dictator Idi Amin Dada from power in 1979. When Kenyans touted their Bill of Rights and freedom of speech, Tanzanians prided themselves with ideology-driven politics grounded in the teachings of their founding father, Julius Kambarage Nyerere. Another potential score there was cancelled out. So my scoreboard was still reading Kenya 0, Tanzania 0. Then I heard some Tanzanians saying they have been there's little between little and nothing to learn from Kenyans. He went on to explain in eloquent Kiswahili how Kenyans compete and even kill each other along tribal lines every election year. At that point, I thought it was getting rather personal. Still 0-0, over to the VAR. That is my kicker.